This way, banks would not have to touch crypto at all, not hold it, not transfer it, nothing. So they are safe. They would let the payment company handle it all. Well, they're a Ripple partner, and we have a 30-minute video of the gentleman mentioning that Ripple will be side by side in the future of Swift payments as an option. What is going on, guys? Cage here with another cryptocurrency update. In today's video, we're going to highlight the XRP price chart. First off, shared by Credible Crypto, one of my favorites. We have the XRP US dollar price chart. While Bitcoin recently swept our wick lows at 42K and Ethereum dumped even further below its own, XRP has held up incredibly well through this correction and has not gotten close to its own wick lows. Path of least resistance seems to be up. All eyes may be on XRP soon. Now, looking at XRP's dominance price chart on charts.cointrader.pro, we can see after every steep crash, there has always been a very bullish retracement. Right here, XRP bounced over 6,000%. From this low in the beginning of 2017, also known as one of the very first alt seasons, we can see that XRP's dominance actually bounced almost 3,000%. So we are in very interesting times, and also something to note from the XRP dominance all-time high price, this wick right here, we are sitting about 93% down from that all-time high. Looking at the XRP Ethereum chart, it looks absolutely beautiful, as we can see, establishing support. And from this previous bounce back in 2017, we saw a 4,000% move. I know this was early days, and yes, we expect there to be diminished returns in this market, but an asset with actual utility in the cryptocurrency market, I'd be expecting a very powerful move to be coming in 2022. So this is the XRP Ethereum chart, and then also the XRP Bitcoin chart. Looking at all these charts, as you can see, the longer the base, the higher in space. Now, something to note is, after this bottom was established and the retracement came through, XRP bounced 5,400%. Then, after another crash, it bounced yet again. Diminished returns, but still over a 2,000% pump. And now also, this is API3. Now, I'm actually going to tie this into a lot of assets that are still below their 236 Fibonacci retracement compared to their all-time high price. These are assets that I'm most interested in. Keep in mind, from the risk-reward aspect, we're talking from the all-time low price, you're only up about 130% from its all-time low price. That is something I like, and I feel that is less risk for a sound asset. Now, of course, Chainlink, I wish it well, another asset that I was in early days, but just something to note, from the previous all-time high, consolidating around that 236, and then it absolutely exploded just below that level to the upside. Now, what's interesting about Chainlink is it is an Oracle solution, one of the first movers in this entire space, and it got a high level of adoption with thousands of partners. Now, I believe API3, in terms of decentralizing the APIs, which actually feed into the oracles, you could say. Now you have Chainlink that reached a full 34 Fibonacci extension. This is kind of the moon scenario from early days. If we were only back here, if we were looking at Chainlink again when it was 50 cents and I charted it, I'd be talking about this 34 extension as that impulse. Notice we did in fact reach it, and we actually even had a wick right on it. Now today we're just below the 21. Now these are Fibonacci numbers. I'm overlaying them. Of course, you guys know that I also use the Fibonacci numbers in my exponential moving averages. But just wanted to share, I know a couple months ago we did videos showing all of the assets that reach a 34, a 21, or even an 8. And unfortunately, no, I do not think that API3 reaches the 34 extension just yet, but I wanted to show you my expectations for this asset in the long term. API3 is part of my long-term holds. Why? Because it's fulfilling my criteria. One, it's a sound project. Come to coinmarketcap.com and take a quick look at it. Let's look at the tags as well. We understand that it's involved in the Cardano ecosystem, the Polygon ecosystem, and Phantom, which are huge. They just announced a partnership with Near Protocol. And of course, the Polkadot ecosystem is getting bigger by the day and is here to stay. And don't even get me started considering some of the venture capital funds that have invested into API3. And if you also go to Twitter, type in kevincage.yt, that is one of the largest market makers today. They make markets not only for Coinbase, but also FTX, Binance, and a few other global exchanges. And that is one of the ways that we actually predicted this Coinbase listing. But no, we did not get the pump we wanted. There was like maybe a 40% candle. And then, of course, Bitcoin was pulling this whole market down. Point being, is an asset that is going to be on a variety of exchanges with a global market maker making the markets, improving the volume before. There's about 180 to 200 plus new API providers that are going to be joining on and actually onboarding Airnode. I think API3 is going to have a very safe and bullish future. Now, Chainlink, I wish it well. It probably does have some upside in the future, but just wanted to share, I mean, even from this low right here, we could do the same thing with API3. This bad boy has gone up over almost 150x. And up here, this is over a 300x return. I'm all for Chainlink, but I am just much heavier in terms of my allocation and holdings in API3, and I hope I did show some of my rationale and reasoning for doing so. Because it's a relatively new asset, they have real partners, an active GitHub, are extremely close to their all-time low price, so the downside is minimized, and I think it would be temporary. Has some of the biggest investors in the world backing this project, plus integrations with a variety of ecosystems, whether that be Matic, Phantom, Near, Cardano, and Polkadot. This is financial advice. Do not get married to a single asset, otherwise you're going to have tunnel vision. Yes, XRP is one of my biggest holdings. But guess what, guys? For the past 4+ years, I've always been in a variety of assets. And when API3 or other assets similar to XRP, which is also below the 236 Fibonacci retracement and fulfills my requirements for continuing to dollar cost average, I do believe they reach these higher golden extensions in due time, and that is when I actually begin to take profit, rebalance my portfolio, and then find the next asset to buy as low as possible and sell as high as possible. So again, I wish all assets, I wish everybody well on their cryptocurrency journey, but I'm just not interested in going into all assets that have already created another all-time high price. I'm much more interested in buying assets that are still well below their all-time high, which was several years ago. And since then, we've had significantly more volume, more wallets, more utility on the network. And of course, for anybody that actually understands XRP and has done their research, you know that this is a giant political play if you've actually read the paperwork and kept up with the lawsuit and kept up with all of the findings of John Deaton. There's a huge portion of the crypto market that has no idea how XRP even functions. I also have an exciting announcement to make. This is Liquid Marketplace. I highly recommend checking this platform out. They will be revolutionizing this entire space in terms of collectibles. Remember, we say the tokenization of everything, of course, in terms of financial instruments. But there's other markets. We've already talked about GameFi and in-game items reaching $1 trillion market capitalization. And of course, with the rise of NFTs, we've actually paid more attention to the collectibles market as well. Whether that be trading cards, high-value pieces of art, you name it. And the collectibles market alone is on track to reach $500 billion in the coming years. That's $500 billion. Fractional ownership will democratize the ownership of high-value assets, because currently, the ownership of all these high-value assets, or the baseball cards like Honus Wagner that are worth $5 to $6 million, are owned by a single person. And I'll be sure to cover this platform in greater detail, but be sure to follow Liquid Market PL on Twitter. And I'm happy to be side by side some of my best friends in this entire space, such as Crypto Eddie, XRP Darren, and of course King Solomon as Liquid Advocates. And you can learn more at liquidmarketplace.io. We also have shared by cryptocurrency. API3 partnership continues with Near Protocol. The partnership supports projects that will use Near's easy, fast, and secure blockchain and API3's Oracle solution to power all these dApps. And as I shared earlier with Amergo, one of the founding entities of Cardano. Now, of course, this is speculation, and whether you like it or not, we are all speculators, especially in this market, without utility driving it yet. As you can see, Cardano went from absolute pennies to nearly $3. I'd assume that some of that money will go back and reinvest into tokens that are interoperable with this ecosystem. Okay, last but not least, X_Anderson. This is a thread about Tranglo, and I think this is going to be amazing for Southeast Asia and will have a rippling effect. So thread on how I believe Tranglo might fit into the picture for on-demand liquidity. Warning, this is a lot of speculation. Do your own research. This is not financial advice. And yes, most likely does involve Visa. Visa purchased one of the largest partners in the world of Ripple, which is Earthport, for $200 to $300 million a few years ago. And this is referring to a lot of video evidence that we've shown in the past, with Chris Larson specifically mentioning Earthport in almost every single PowerPoint slide for RippleNet. Ripple announced that they did acquire 40% of Tranglo back in March of 2021, sourced right here. Tranglo's headquarters are also in a variety of cities: Malaysia, Dubai, Singapore, London, Jakarta, etc. And Dubai also has the regional headquarters of the company Ripple. On July 22nd, 2021, they tweeted that they are working on something that will transform payments. Those are big words. I don't think Tranglo is meant as a regular ODL partner. We can be pretty sure it involves XRP. I would assume so as well, but of course that could be a dangerous assumption, so please decide for yourselves. But they did actually tweet this, and they did show a giant XRP logo saying loading, so You guys can call me crazy, I'm used to it. Anders L goes on to say, I watched an old video on multi-hop where they mentioned how a multi-hop partner on RippleNet could act as a hub to help process payments for any other customer, meaning that the XRP payments could go through any partner and really choose the most efficient payment path. Now, many have speculated that MoneyGram was supposed to be that ODL payments hub on RippleNet, but as we know, since the lawsuit with the SEC, the relationship ended, and Alex Holmes, CEO of MoneyGram, the second largest MSB in the world behind Western Union, specifically said, I believe it was CNN, and we uploaded the clip on YouTube, said XRP was actually doing the back end in terms of the foreign exchange market, and they were actually using Stellar on the front end for their customers. So notice, Stellar and Ripple were working together. Notice that MoneyGram was using Stellar and Ripple at the same time, and they were solving two different problems. This is another reason why you should not be married to one single asset. There's going to be many. HBAR, VeChain, Polkadot, you name it. Algorand. Now, I believe they're likely setting up Tranglo to be such a hub outside the US, outside the reach of the SEC. And here's another video of the GOAT David Schwartz. Since it has no office in the US, I believe they could work as a hub to process on-demand liquidity transfers. This brings me to an old video I made on how I believe banks will go live with ODL in a larger way. In this video, David Schwartz talks about how banks could do ODL transfers when there is regulatory uncertainty, which would be by having a payments company do the transfer, which I believe Tranglo will do. And I really like the speculation. I think this is intelligent, healthy speculation, and I do in fact remember this video. And there certainly is regulatory uncertainty today. This way, banks would not have to touch crypto at all, not hold it, not transfer it, nothing. So they are safe. They would let the payment company handle it all. Tranglo had a pretty huge reach with over 1,300 banks. And you can see right here, 130,000 cash pickup points and 1,300 banks and wallets. If you go back to the video I made, Bob Way, one of the first 5 Ripple employees who was also good friends with David Schwartz, and how the switch would be flipped, in air quotes of course, before utility and XRP payment flow would be reached. Banks connecting to these payment companies on RippleNet, the network of all Ripple users, doing transfers and increasing the volume. I believe there will be a few of these hubs, and I agree as well. Now, if we do some heavy speculation, we've seen Visa make a couple of large purchases, such as Earthport, as we mentioned, along with Currency Cloud. Currency Cloud is essentially partnered with everybody in the payment space, by the way. I believe it's likely these will be hubs processing on-demand liquidity payments. Currency Cloud was shown as a key Ripple partner in 2021. As we can see, 55 countries, 120 currency pairs. Now, also, something to note besides these partners that we all know at this point, that the lead of RTP real-time payments for one of the largest technology providers in the world, ACI worldwide, that sends $14 trillion per day. You would be astounded by how many Bitcoin and Ethereum maxis are not aware of ACI worldwide. Well, they're a Ripple partner, and we have a 30-minute video of the gentleman mentioning that Ripple will be side by side in the future of Swift payments as an option. And I think you guys understand what I'm saying here because ODL will be one of the main solutions. So this is a gentleman that leads the real-time payment initiatives, and this was actually done in the Middle East, and coincidentally Ripple's offices are all throughout the MENA region, where remittance payments are extremely high. We are talking 7% to send money home to family and friends. But anyways, let's keep moving. So type in Kevin Cage, ACI Worldwide RTP if you want to watch that video. Now, what could be the incentives for Visa? Why would they want to process ODL payments? Well, by processing on-demand liquidity payments, which very well could be XRP for other institutions, I assume that they would gain revenue for doing it, similar to the transaction banking model of today. Except today it's far more centralized with JP Morgan, Citibank, and of course HSBC controlling 80% of all cross-border payments, which is a joke. Maybe Visa and other groups will do this to gain revenue since Visa owns them, and they would ultimately make the revenue. And if you're imagining tens of millions of Swift messages and payments going through on a daily basis, and you're getting a transaction fee, a small fee, of course, of the tens of millions, of course, trillions of dollars in flow, I'd imagine that's a great revenue stream. Now, David Schwartz goes on to clarify that the Visa payment system itself does not settle funds. Settlement is the base of all of this, where XRP will actually be solving the problem. Visa is just a messaging system similar to Swift that has to settle payments after with their actual pre-funded accounts and their correspondent relationship because the system is so inefficient. Visa is also in competition with Swift to some degree for money transfers. By gaining the ability to have instant settlement, that would be a pretty huge advantage for Visa. And remember that Ripple's already a named partner with MasterCard as well, and of course DLocale, which is plugged right into UnionPay, and UnionPay is bigger than Visa and MasterCard. Think China, one of the BRICS nations. And lastly, talking about a few of the other behemoths, Finastra, Volante, Temenos, they need no introduction if you are an XRP holder. And these groups are already integrated with RippleNet, their system integrators, they're huge tech providers where banks can easily integrate plug and play right into the Ripple network and use ODL. So I believe this is the plan, to first have RippleNet with a few of these multi-hop hubs doing ODL transfers. Then have banks and other FIs connecting to RippleNet from solutions like Finastra. Then, like in my video where Bob Way mentions the banks using these payment company hubs to process payments and increase the volume on their behalf so that they don't have to touch anything like crypto or ODL. This would bring the whole entire system together. Now, of course, this is just his speculation, but I really like his frame of thinking. Anders Zell has been one of my favorites in crypto Twitter for the past couple years. Highly recommend following this gentleman and check out his Patreon as well. But alright guys, that is enough out of me. We're going to see where Bitcoin takes this market next. And please recall, XRP dominance, XRP Ethereum, and the XRP Bitcoin price chart are absolutely primed for 2022. Until next time.